Hey guys, it's Sor here. Now, this is going to be another special video that is going to be about, well, this is the first of my Autism Diaries videos, and this is going to be about stimming and what it is, what different things are that could be considered stimming, and also in a few also what you can do if the stimming that you're actually doing can be considered dangerous. Now, stimming is something that a lot of people who are autistic, mostly children and teenagers, but it can affect autistic adults too. It's pretty much like rapid, like repeated, like things. So it's like you might like do a lot of motions with your hands or fingers when you're nervous. You might move your body like a lot like this. You might like jump around a bit. You might like just look at things in the distance from like angles and things like that. Um, you might have like repetitive behaviors like listening to the same song over and over again. Have like a repetitive schedule. Um, and like just things like mine is sometimes I will jump around quite a bit, but also there's the other traits like sometimes like I'm actually doing one right now without realizing it. Like I'll mess with my hair or I'll do like the hand gestures or things, or if I make audible sounds, you might see if you watch my let's plays as well. You might have seen me or heard me make some like kind of sounds. That's like when I get frustrated. And the reasons why autistic people stim can be because we have severe emotions that suddenly manifest. We're anxious. Sometimes it can be because we're angry. Uh, Sometimes it can be because we're scared as well, which that shows up a lot. Sometimes it can be excitement. And the reason why in these situations we do this is because it calms our emotions. And in a lot of situations, it helps us to deal with, it helps us to deal with these things, with like these emotions that we're going through. And stimming, if it's not dangerous, like if it's not like, I will get into in a minute the ways in which stimming can be considered dangerous. If it's not dangerous and it's not harming you or anyone else, then yeah, a lot of people would say it's something that should be controlled, but a lot of us who are autistic just don't want it to be controlled. It's our way of showing our emotions and letting our emotions out. We don't want it to be controlled. It's our way of expressing our emotions or dealing with particularly difficult or troublesome situations. Now, there are what we would call self-injury stimming, which would be things like there are some people who bite their own finger. There are people who hit walls or kick walls or things that can lead to injury. Now, obviously, when this is the stimming that they do, it is best to control it in that respect, because obviously you don't want the person injuring themselves. So in that regard, that is when stimming should be controlled, but don't make a person stop it. Find an alternative way of them expressing it. And if you need to prevent it, sometimes calming, giving them objects, or putting them around objects or colors, or just things in general that would be considered calming textures or calming sensories or like just calming presences can help in that respect. And sometimes if you put them like certain music that helps to calm them, obviously that that helps a lot too. Uh, but yeah, and also if that doesn't help, there are ways to control it. But if it's not harming anyone, if the stimming isn't actually harming anybody, then I wouldn't say you need to do anything rash about it. Now, obviously, I'm going to go into detail now about how stimming personally, like what I do. I'll jump around sometimes. I'll do, like I said, the noise things. And there's other instances where if you look at my fingers, I basically have no nails because I just bite my nails when I'm nervous. I'll have other instances where I will pretty much, you can't see it on camera because it's too high up, where I will be like this, where I'll slap the soles of my feet to like create a rhythm. I'll make like a noise sometimes um, to do this kind of thing. Now, obviously, even when I was, before I unmasked, when I was still like masked, I did these things, but it was difficult to hide these things in a public place. Because obviously, if you start jumping around or anything like that in a public place, the chances are people are going to not exactly find it normal or socially accepted. They're going to be a little bit confused and probably concerned as to why you're doing this. Now, obviously, stimming is something that, I mean, obviously, not just autistic people do this, but autistic people like myself do it in a different way to other people. And for the most part, a lot of people would argue that it's not really something that can be controlled. It can be, but some people, it doesn't need to be controlled unless it's causing an issue. Like if you're in school and it's causing disruption, then obviously yes. If it's causing you injury, then obviously yes. But stimming isn't something that you should be ashamed of doing. It's just regular behaviors for somebody who's autistic, and we we can't exactly help that. It's just who we are. It's just what we do. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of these behaviors. Like I will listen to the same songs over and over again. I actually have a playlist on my phone of songs that I listen to over and over again. That yeah, it's just a lot of the time. Some people will obviously find it dangerous, and if you do have the type of stimming that is considered dangerous to yourself and others, then yes, let people that care about you help you find a way to still stim that isn't harmful to you, that isn't harmful to anyone else, because the last thing that people want is for you to get hurt. So if, you know, in the words of Bradley Riches, when he did that interview about some of the things he did in the Big Brother house, if I'm going to stim, I'm going to stim. Like, I do it out in public sometimes. And when I do it out in public, sometimes I get weird looks, but it's like a lot of the time, before I wouldn't do that, whereas now I do. It's not something you should be ashamed of. It's just you if your stimming is harmful to you and to others, then let people help you find an alternative way to stim that isn't harmful to anybody. So yeah, that was the first of my Autism Diaries. Next, I am thinking that my next one might be on how either sensory overload or loud noises. I was thinking of putting them into two separate separate ones, but now that I think about it, they kind of fall under the same thing. So I might do both of them in the same entry, uh, which will be next Saturday. So yeah, this is Sora signing out. I love you guys. I love you guys. Peace.